Hello, everybody, and welcome back to yet another very exciting episode of the Friends Talking Fantasy podcast. My name is Charles, and with me today, as always, is my left friend and co-host, Dylan.
I'm ready to talk some fantasy with my friends, Charles. That's friends,
Yes,
plural.
yes, we say the plural today because we are joined yet again by friend of the show, Miles, aka Christian Cameron. Christian, thank you so much for returning to the show. We're excited to have you today.
I'm so excited to be here with my friends,
Yes.
talking fantasy, which secretly is going to be kind of science fiction today. But
Yeah,
we
yeah, yeah.
no,
Well, but we sneak in some sword fights here and there and things like that
definitely sword
throughout this
fights, and
series.
we can talk about fantasy if you want. Like I love fantasy.
I'm sure it will. I'm sure it will sneak its way in. But yes, this is Christian, you've been on the show several times now. We've talked about the Arcana Imperii series a couple times. We covered Artifact Space and Deep Black and some other releases of. I mean, when I think we the first time you were on the show, you were like in mid 40s books published, and now you're past 50, right? So it's been quite the journey. We have
Uh,
52, 3.
I think I'm at 52.
52. Okay.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
You
it's
know they've published a lot when they have to say, I think I've published this many
I
books.
promised Mark Lawrence that I'd have another party at book 100.
oh yeah.
Okay.
But let me invite you two first. Well, I guess second after Mark Lawrence, but there will be a
That's
hundredth
fair.
book party.
Yeah.
Please come.
Yeah, well,
Well, we
we
love
will
Mark too,
so
so
that's that's not far from now if you
yeah.
follow your trajectory. So we'll clear our schedules. But yeah, so we're super excited and this is also a cover reveal for the third book in the Arcana Imperii series. So I guess Christian, before we get too far into all this, why don't you tell us a little bit about the series and the cover that we're going to be revealing today?
So, Arcana Imperii means the secrets of empire, and the abiding theme throughout the four, five, or six book series, and I like don't get me started, um, is that there that each of the empires, and I don't want to give spoilers, but there's at least three empires, has secrets, and those secrets sort of bubble along and they have sort of levels of reveal as you get towards the end, which won't be an end because anyway, I could drone on, but it will be a new beginning, let's say. Um, and
Mhm.
so the first two books covered Marka and Barrow in detail as she sort of went out into space and became a hero. Uh, and this is a bit of a spoiler, but by the end of the second book, you realize she didn't just become a hero by chance. She's sort of been set up to be a hero um, for reasons that I think are very current because we're staring down the barrel of a lot of things about AI. And
Oh yeah.
one of the secrets of Empire that has been revealed by the end of Deep Black is that the AIs aren't all good. And it's also been revealed that the two alien races that humans are in contact with don't use AIs. In fact, they don't even seem to use computers. And um, you don't have to be a really, really involved reader to realize that some of the characters are starting to ask, like, well, why don't the aliens use AI? And I think that's a question that many readers might be asking for other reasons right now. So anyway, that's sort of the meta of the series. It's also about contact with aliens, and it's also about my endless passion for history and archaeology. And I'd also like to say, because readers have started to notice this, that it's full of deliberate Easter eggs and nods to other people's science fiction novels, um,
Ah.
which I just enjoy the heck out of because I read a lot of sci-fi and I really enjoy sort of just making casual references. Anyway, that's not what the series is about. It's just what I enjoy.
Sure. And then one of the things I always, tell people when I'm pushing Artifact Space and Deep Black also is that you pull a lot of your military background and experiences into creating life on this gigantic ship that's almost as if you're on like a giant battleship and there's strict ranks in the military and the way people socialize and go on leave and things like that. So it's a very rich kind of militaristic structure that kind of is this almost, I call it slice of life kind of with Embaro as she gets into this world and is living this day-to-day life on the ship. You see some of that downtime.
Military ships that carry huge cargoes. Uh,
Yes.
I didn't invent this phrase, but I really like it. Describe artifact space in 3 words: Venice in space. It's Venice in space. It's
Right.
it it's huge merchant ships that can fight pirates or just carry big cargoes, cruising around doing interesting things. Um, and the book opens in the Piazza San Marco, which happens to be on a space station somewhere far, far from Earth. I did that for reasons. I was referencing a whole sort of merchant system that existed in the 15th century, and yeah, and we go from there. But yeah, it's very hierarchical. And yes, I realized this at some point in my writing. I didn't do it of intent, but I write to be immersive. I want
Mm,
the experience to immerse the reader so the reader's like, I feel like I was there. And I tend to do like very day to day, even when day to day is boring. And I think I actually said this on your cast the last time, and I won't repeat myself too much, but um, several people have said, wow, the middle of artifact space is a little boring. I did that deliberately because I've been at sea for months and months, and I wanted the reader to go like, wow, she does the same thing every day. And you could say that in a paragraph, but it doesn't fully convey the immersive experience of just
mm.
doing the same thing.
For sure. And I feel like that contrast makes it so that when there is a wild space battle or a sword fight or something like that, you feel the juxtaposition in a way where the stakes go way up, the pacing is really exciting, and you say the middle of Artifact space is boring. I don't really feel that way. I feel as though it's like an enjoyable experience seeing the social dynamics and all of that too. But I think the slowness actually makes the points in which there is a lot of action, which does happen pretty frequently, especially at the end, is
Mhm.
like it really shines through.
Yeah. And
So the other thing, oh, sorry, pardon
no,
me.
go ahead. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Well, the other thing I want to say is, we all quite, I think it's great that we do this, but we're all very interested in cozy fantasy at the moment. And
Yeah.
I think that what drives cozy fantasy, besides the fact that the world is somewhat terrible and we all would like to relax, is that you can be immersed and just enjoy a lot of careful world building and a sort of pace. And I've read several cozy fantasies. My favorite was set in an inn. And to be honest, I think I'm going to write one as freeware for my Christmas story about
Oh.
a witch who's an
Nice.
apothecary and like what goes on in her garden. But um, I like to believe, right or wrong, that even though Artifact Space and Deep Black and Whalesong aren't cozy, that
Mhm.
the immersion into non-action scenes should be satisfying the way cozy is satisfying. Like, oh yeah, she's going to dinner in the dining hall, and the dining
Yeah.
hall is where her friends are. They sit around a table. Like, that's a rich, warm environment, a found
Mhm.
family environment, and that should
Hmm.
be as interesting to some readers as a giant space battle. Anyway,
Absolutely. Yeah, no, I think that's absolutely true. And then it builds also authenticity. I remember, we were talking, I think it was the Artifact Space interview we had you on, and you were like, well, 99% of military life is being bored. And then there's
yeah.
that 1% where you're very much not bored. And that always stuck with me of like, yeah, well, obviously, because they're not like fighting every second of every day. There's a lot of bureaucratic things, sheets got to get washed, laundry has to be sorted out,
Coffee
coffee
has
has
to
to
be
get
drank.
made. Yeah,
Yes.
Coffee.
exactly.
It's all about the
Exactly.
coffee.
Exactly, exactly. So it brings the level of that too. But I think it strikes a good balance because, like you said, there is a lot of intrigue in the series, and we can get all into that. But I think it's more like we're all here for the cover reveal, right? This is the first time that this cover will be made public. And then I wish we had the cameras rolling when we discovered this. But Christian, is this also the first time you're going to be seeing this cover?
As I keep saying to you guys, I've seen the prelims, but yes, this is the first time I've seen the finished cover.
Because Christian was like, I don't think I've seen this version. And I was like,
No, no, I don't think
how
I
have
have.
we seen it? So I don't know. I think like this is our first, cover reveal too. So I think there's nothing left to do but to show it off if you guys are ready. What do we
I'm
think?
ready, as long as my name is
Yes.
spelled.
I think we're
I'm
good.
pretty confident it's spelled
But the
correct.
good news is there's still time to go back if we need to
It's
change
all
it.
lowercase though, so hopefully you like
Yes.
it that way. I think it was
It,
like that on the previous
Yeah, I
covers
think it
too
yes.
in
was.
the series though,
Yes,
so
yes. That's a trend I've seen. A lot of like visual fonts are being all lowercase these days. Very trendy.
yeah.
But all right. Well, let's enough with the
I'm
hype.
still
Let's go
ready.
ahead and show it. You're not gonna believe it, folks. Here we go. Cover reveal in three, two, one. Oh, is this the right cover? Which cover is this? What am I sharing?
You are sharing nothing.
Well,
I'm
I have
sharing
a,
Can you
nothing.
see it?
I see black. Hold on. Like, did I mention this was our
This
first?
is the deep that was the deep black
That
cover.
was the deep black.
okay,
Let's try it
good.
again. And we're just
Yeah.
building up the suspense, folks. Here it is.
Oh,
Ta-da!
whoa, that
Yes.
is beautiful.
Isn't
Okay,
it great? So,
That is
s-
gorgeous.
that is
wow.
gorgeous.
Whale Song. And I have Deep Black here as well, the second book in the series, if we want to look. Very beautiful. So, Christian, have you seen this cover before? I know you said maybe.
I have not.
Okay. Very cool. So we've spent a little bit of time looking at it in preparation for this. So we may be catching you in an improv moment, and this may be getting into spoilers for the series. So we can kind of, if that's the case, just let us know. But one of the things that we've noticed, like stylistically, they complement each other very well, book between book two and book three. But one of the things we noticed, we got a new spaceship in there. Do we have
Yes,
Yeah.
do
yeah,
we have an
and
idea of what this spaceship is?
it's a bit of a spoiler, but I don't think it's going
Mm,
to ruin anybody's read. So while Marka Barrow is in this book, and quite frequently, she is not the protagonist, and it's not
mm,
the Athens. It's a much smaller ship. It's a freighter, and you've run into the ship before. The ship is called Silver Star, and it was run by basically as a privateer by bad guys and captured in Deep Black, captured by the Athens. And so
mm,
in the
Mm.
very opening part of Whalesong, that ship has been sold to a fairly minor character from the earlier two books named Thor Storkel, who's the guy from Iceland, if you remember. He's a very minor character.
mm.
And he's going to do things in it that will eventually affect the entire series. And I don't know how much to say about it. Um, it's uh, it is, I think, very exciting. I think it has the best space combat scene I've ever written.
Oh,
Um, the best sort of Mission Impossible space combat scene I've ever written. But
okay.
it is, I hope, it has a different feel to it because it's about a smaller group of people, and it is to some extent literally a spy novel. And
Mm.
from it, many of the secrets of empire will be explored, if not revealed. And also, we'll get a lot of world building. And again,
Mm,
I'm I'm loath to give everything away, but I'm going to say that there are certain things that by the end of Deep Black, you realize are out there. And just knowing that the title of the fourth book is The Aliens War suggests that the aliens are coming.
mm.
And the humans are now aware that it's not all good out in space, and that the 300 years that they've just gotten to expand and sort of colonize might be over. And Whale Song is sort of the transition between a time of, you guys were stressing the military, but
Yeah.
remember that the Athens is first and foremost a merchant ship that
Right.
has to
Mhm.
turn herself into a military ship. And even in the merchant marine, people have ranks and people have those sort of social structures and so on. But now in Whale Song, we're seeing some things happen. We're seeing Marco Ibarra change into a politician, and not just a politician, I promise. And we're seeing humanity's reaction to the fact that there might be war amongst the stars.
That's exciting because I could tell by the end of Deep Black that you were ready to expand and grow this story and this setting. It's hard to describe like a giant universe as a setting, but the world that the universe that you've created, I could tell that, Embaro was kind of, had her moment on, the merchant ship, and now we're getting to the next level. And then you also had Beyond the Fringe, which was the anthology series as well, that totally different characters and totally different places and totally different parts of time. So I could tell you were gearing up and really fleshing out the greater story beyond Embaro. But it's good to hear that, some of those characters that we've been following this whole time continue. But I think the exciting thing is like where you go next in the series. You mentioned what, five, six books you mentioned?
Well, there's definitely four,
Okay.
but a fairly long novella is going to be published in Grimdark magazine, I
Yes.
believe, starting in
hmm
October. Um, and by the way, if I can just give it a plug, I'm going to write it with
Yeah.
my friend Emma Burnett, who's written a bunch of short science fiction, and
Hmm.
recently won an award, and I should know what the award was. But she's also, by profession, a highly trained botanist or agroscientist. And she's given me the science part. Science fiction has the word science in it, to get into a subplot that was very important to me from the beginning, but I will not reveal because it is one of the secrets of Empire. I'll just
Perfect.
say that we're aware at the end of Deep Black that, and I'm assuming that most people watching this podcast who care, watching this video cast, who care, have already seen the first two books. So they're aware that the two major alien races, the Hin and the Starfish, are not like unified bodies. They themselves have dozens, if not hundreds, or even thousands of internal polities, and they fight amongst themselves like humans do. And this is a thing that I've read a lot of science fiction, and often the aliens are sort of capitalized aliens. They're all together and they're
hmm
out to get
Hmm.
humans.
Hmm.
Well, this is not that. This is a very um, more complicated, more nuanced situation in which the misunderstandings are enormous, and we'll learn more about the misunderstandings in Whalesong. We'll learn more about why one of the alien races does the things that they appear to do. Um, and yeah, and we'll flesh some things out. Believe it or not, even though Whalesong is a spy novel that involves some sort of new characters, it is on the main plot. And by the end, when you see a lot of Marca and Barrow, you'll see how it all comes together. That's about
Very
all I
cool.
think I can say about it at the moment.
Very
Well,
cool.
that's
And
very exciting. Yeah, I
that,
I think Christian, just to touch on that point about the within culture differences that you demonstrate for alien cultures, I just that really stuck out to me in Deep Black too, as a thing that there's like that trope, they call it the Planet of Hats trope of like every alien civilization is just a monoculture. But I've really enjoyed reading your books, that complexity that you bring to each individual culture, like within a larger like planet, which you would expect, much like humans, has a bunch of different cultures within it.
Yeah, I mean, it was one of the bases on which I wrote the book because I kind of knew the meta plot before I started. It's a good thing when you're writing. Um, and uh, yeah, the different culture. Well, so I'll give away one thing because I think it helps people immediately understand.
we're getting all the goods.
Oh, there's a lot more goods. Whale Song could be called the Book of Secrets, but
Ah,
um, and, and there are whales. There are whales.
that was
It's
going to be my next
Real
question.
whales?
real whales, real whale.
Wow.
Well, you might recall that in book one, uh, the merchant rep who sells the excellent, who buys a lot of the excellent coffee at Sahel asks Marka and Barrow if she can come up with a whale. And you might recall that in Deep Black, at the very end, it's almost the last line. Marka and Barrow basically says, I need to work on getting the people at Sahel a whale. And
Hmm.
so one way of describing Whalesong is friends of Marka and Barrow try and get a whale.
Oh yeah, it's literally the last line in the book. I thought we'd get Mombasa Orbital a pod of whales. So there you
Yeah.
go. There we go. That's how you left us hanging last year,
Oh yeah.
Christian.
Yeah.
So
Um,
what was the inspiration for the title Whale Song? Beyond the fact that we may have whales make an appearance in the book, how did that become the title?
uh, Again, don't want to give too much away, but I'll say this much. Whales communicate, amongst other things, with very low and very high frequency communications that until at least the 1940s, as far as I know, no one had heard. And the fact that whales can communicate over enormous distances in the ocean is being explored, but in a way, it's like a code for a secret long range communication, maybe.
Y- Gotcha. I have heard that these songs can go for miles across the ocean and like it does seem like a pretty cool um like signature thing for whales. And I guess that is somehow going to poetically tie into the plot of To Whale Song.
Very much so. And then there's literal whales. And then also, I mean, because I'm a medievalist, Chaucer has the Knight's Tale and the Miller's Tale, and there's the song of chivalry and the song of this and the song of that and the song of Gawain. So whale song might be a tale about
Mhm.
a whale.
And whales do have tails
Hmm.
also, isn't that right, Dylan?
Yes, I can confirm whales have tails, but I can also confirm that on Whale Song there seems to be this flaming planet kind of thing. Is this a sun that we have here in the Whale Song cover? Because
It
it's
is
like a gorgeous like red, and the depth is really cool. So I was
it is
wondering,
it is
can we
literally a
confirm?
sun, and it's a sun
Yes.
in the system with a very, very intense solar wind of, solar wind is charged particles. Um, so it would be correct to imagine million-mile long solar flares lashing out through a system, maybe more than a million miles. I'm not that great at scale, and I have to work all this out with paper and pencil. But that representation is very accurate. And one of the nods to other science fiction I have you guys read The Mote in God's Eye?
We have
No.
not.
No, we have
What?
not.
Larry Niven, Jerry Purnell? Well, maybe it's too old school for you guys.
The
Well,
moat
literally one of the
in
greatest
God's
sci-fi
eyes.
novels ever written, in my humble opinion. Um, and there is a fairly extended Mote in God's Eye joke as
Oh,
various characters realize that they're diving their ship into the outer sphere of a sun,
I'm
which
looking
people
at
do in the Mote in God's Eye.
cool. No,
Interesting.
this
Sorry.
is add into the
I'm just looking up, yeah,
TBR.
Moat in God's Eye. That's fun. They have a spacecraft cover there too. So it kind of I don't know if this was the version that you read, but there's like a spacecraft and some sort of sun way out in the distance, at least in but it's got like this eye shape to it. That's a clever t cover too. I mean, none can compare to Whale Song, but
Oh, good.
it's
Yeah,
Yes.
I am
No,
really impressed with Whale Song, actually. I believe I had seen the ship before,
okay.
and the the solar flare. But I like it all. Yep.
It's a beautiful cover. I'm
yeah.
excited to add it to the collection so it can go proudly next to my other books in the series. But you mentioned the sun, and that is a key part. I see you have a map behind you, Christian. Is or in your Zoom space. Is this star on your map anywhere? Can you tell us more about
It
the?
is. It is, but I can't see me right now, so I can't.
Oh, maybe I'll stop sharing for a second so that we say that we can see how is this. But
So wow, let me. Oh no.
are we cut off?
Does it cut off?
Yeah, so let's see if I can just lean in the right direction. So, no, I can't
It's
lean.
also tough because everything gets like inverted, so
Mirrored,
you'll think
yeah.
you're pointing in
Okay,
one area.
so here's New London, right? And here's
Yes.
Terra,
Yes.
Earth,
Okay.
right? And
Yeah.
Aleph, you have you have heard of Aleph before, but it's not a member of the DHC and it's a fairly strange place. And then there's Gliese 148, which is a real star. And then
Hmm.
sadly, I can't get there, but down here is
Uh-huh.
Epsilon Eridani. And Epsilon Eridani is a real place. And I used as much information about it as I could find on the web. I am not an astronomer, but I used the star and the intense solar wind and the fact that it's pumping out so much radiation that most of the methods you would use to find another ship in, say, space combat would be very, very difficult. Yeah, Epsilon
Well,
Eridani down
well,
here.
there we go. It's down there in the mysterious depths, much like the whale songs in the ocean. So that's super exciting. And we have another cover that we wanted to talk about too, right, Christian, for Artifact
I
Space?
do because a lot of people, I want to take this opportunity to talk to any fans who are
Yeah.
watching, especially American fans, who several people have been saying, like, what happened? My Arcana Imperii books have, I think they temporarily vanished off of people's Kindles.
Oh.
Wow.
And the books aren't in stores in the States. And so I want to answer that and
Hmm.
say that the folks at Saga, which is a very respectable publishing house, have been kind enough to buy all the whole Arcana Imperii series, and they have given them new covers, which are beautiful. I like them just as
Yeah.
much as I like the original covers. They're completely different, and they will be publishing very soon. Artifact Space is coming out, I think, fairly soon. Deep Black, like 3 or 4 months later, and then they'll do Whalesong when we do Whalesong. So they'll all
Oh,
come
very
out
cool.
together, or at least I heard that at some point. But to be honest, editors don't always talk to authors. So let's just say it's all coming along, and I'm at least positive that the Alien War will be published simultaneously. Um,
Very
in the
cool.
meantime, there's Whale Song, and then there's going to be this big novella.
Yes, and the audiobooks as well, which I
Yeah.
highly recommend.
Mm.
That's how I read Artifact Space, and then I also did half and half with Deep Black as well. So,
Well, I've got to say that Anika Nkoye, the woman who reads it or performs it, I should say,
mhm.
is brilliant. And I really feel that she brings, it's like better than the book I wrote. Like, I have actually listened to both of them just for the sheer enjoyment. Like, and sometimes going, wow, I wrote that. It sounds way better coming from her.
Yeah, she does do an excellent job, and I don't know. Sometimes when I picture like Marka and Barrow, I kind of picture her with that voice too now. So
I
she's
do
really
too. And,
personified the character.
I suspect that Netflix will never buy this for a series, but if they do, I'm like, can you just hire Anika Nkoye and she can just
If they do an
Yes.
animated thing and they need a
It
voice
can,
actor, you know?
yeah, Netflix won't get it because Prime Video will have already purchased the rights. And I mean, they
It's a
brought The
bidding war,
Expanse,
you
right?
know.
If I'm remembering correctly. So
They
I
did.
think they'll be a great fit, right? That's what we can expect, hopefully, in the near future.
Yeah.
um,
We can only hope.
Yes.
anyway, so these great folks at Saga bought all the books and they're bringing them all out. And that's why it's temporarily suspended because it used to just be an English import, right? The American
Mm.
edition was just the
Mm,
English
yeah.
edition. And that's like I could go into the publishing industry and its mysteries, but I shan't. I shall just say that I'm very pleased that Joe and Saga have bought these, and I will be sort of helping relaunch it all when they bring out Artifact Space. And in
Very
the meantime, if
exciting.
you want to show the cover, The
Yeah,
American
let's
cover for
see.
Artifact Space. I'll tell a little about how I got to participate in this process.
Oh, I would love that. And like you said, Christian, with a new release comes a new cover, and we're proud to share the US version of book one of the Arcana Imperii series, Artifact Space, right, if I can get it right this time and not show deep black again.
Dun,
Now.
dun, dun. Oh,
Yeah, there
beautiful.
it is.
Hey, we
I
did it.
love
Isn't this
this.
great?
So what I want to say about this is I got to have like lunch with Joe and at Saga, and we talked about things that we loved in sci-fi. And I think I have already told you guys that I'm a huge CJ Sherry fan.
Hmm.
And I
Mhm.
used to love the Whalen covers for like the some of the Foreigner novels and the Pride of Chanur. And I loved the sort of realism of them. And Joe said, "Yeah, I'll get you one of those." And this is literally the way I see Marka and Barrow, right down to the hair that would fit under a helmet, right down to how
Hmm.
her EVA suit slash uh, uh, xenoglass armor looks. Um, and yeah, and I got to sort of keep saying this is very rare for authors, by the way. I maybe there's
Yeah.
other authors who will disagree, but getting to say like not quite like that and no, I'd like this a little different is very rare when you're an author. Um, and so that was super fun.
Yeah, that's awesome. You got to contribute so much, and it is absolutely gorgeous. This is a I love the detail, especially on the armor and the helmet and the spacecraft. I know you did say your one your one thing is the spacecraft could use a little modification, but it looks
You know, it's
nice.
it's okay. It's not the way I envisioned an XC3C, but Um, that's allowed. Uh, I'm not quite sure how the literal high bypass turbofan engine there works in space, but I'm sure it's something interesting. And I'll tell you a couple of other things I love because I just love this cover. I love the lighting and the way it's
Yeah.
reflecting off of the
Mm,
cowling of the air of the spacecraft. Yeah, good stuff. Good stuff. And a
yeah.
reminder that, you need a ladder to get into a cockpit. I like all of that.
Yeah, you can invent space travel and all that, but you still need a ladder, one
Still
of
need a
those
ladder. Yeah.
still need a ladder. One of those timeless inventions. Now, I think it's beautiful. Like you said, I like how it's the brightness of it in certain parts and the silver and blue together. It's really cool. And Embaro
Hmm.
looks great. Like you said, it's like
Yeah.
exactly like you can picture her character embodying this look for sure. So it,
And it's
it, it
a,
is. And I like that they're calling out that it's book one of a series too. Like
yeah,
That's
that's
always
a nice
good.
little
It's
always
touch.
good,
like
always useful. Back in the day, I used to stand in bookshelves cursing in bookstores going, is this book three or book four? Like,
Right.
that
Well, I
still
think in
happens to
a
me.
yeah,
um,
I'll like pick up a book and I'll be like about to buy it and then like Google it. I don't even find out from the book. I'll be like, oh wait, this is the third book, and then they won't
yeah.
have the first one
And then
or the
imagine
second
you get
one
something
there.
like this. Christian Cameron's whole catalog takes up a whole page. You're like, which which book am
yeah,
I on?
where do I start? It
Yeah.
is the most frequently asked question of my fan page is like, where do I start? And I never know what to say. Like, start wherever
Just
you
pick
like.
pick
You need like
something, yeah.
a flow chart.
Like
Like
you got this
start with like
column here, this
sci-fi or
column there.
fantasy. Like
It's like, well,
Or
first you have to
historic.
decide
Remember,
which name you like the sounds of more,
I
and
write
that's
historical
yeah.
novels too. So,
yep, yep.
um,
Yeah.
and there is some crossover, but some fans are like, "Oh, you write science fiction? I don't read that." Oh, okay. I mean, fine. That's whatever. Anyway,
Right.
You're like,
uh,
I know
as
this guy Christian Cameron though, who writes
yeah,
amazing historical stuff, and they'll be like, oh, I should check that Christian Cameron guy out.
my cousin, as some people say. I'll also reveal that the
Yeah.
cover of Deep Black is the scene of Marka and Barrow talking, facing Feather Dancer, the starfish.
Ooh.
So we'll see
It's
some alien life, perhaps.
Yeah, I've seen prelims. I haven't seen the finished product. But it's glorious. It's really an
Oh,
amazing cover. I might
Mm.
even try to buy the original artwork because It's so amazing.
You got to see if
Yeah.
they'll get you like a graphic novel or something. Have you ever thought of that medium as a place to go for
You
book
know,
number 60, book number 100 maybe?
I wrote the words. I know there's a technical name for three graphic novels um, set in somebody else's universe. Uh, and now, why can I not remember?
It is the biggest flex when Christian just forgets like his published
It's
works
like, oh
of
yeah, I wrote
fiction.
three
People
whole
work a
manuscripts for.
lifetime just
Who
to
were
get one thing published, and we've got Christian flexing right now.
uh, I'm just blanking. This is age 63. Anyway, um, and I wrote them while a really good friend of mine penciled them, and I thought the process was fascinating
Mhm.
because seeing your characters brought to life is just, I don't know. I can't draw, so I find the whole thing very impressive. I'd
Yeah.
love to do a graphic novel. If somebody out there says, "Oh, I'd like to do Artifact Space as a graphic novel," I'm, I'm, am I here for it? I'm here to license it.
Yeah.
Uh, I have a lot of writing to do. Gotta
Right.
say, like, there
Mhm.
is no end to I think I have 9 books under contract at the moment. So,
Wow.
yeah,
Wow.
No
there,
pressure.
yeah, no
We're
pressure.
gonna be getting to 100 before we know it then. We're gonna be at that 100th book party with Mark
Yeah, I
Lawrence
mean,
and you.
I may be in a walker by then, but you guys are invited.
We'll just upload your consciousness like some characters here, and you just keep writing forever, you
We'll
know.
get you a nice holographic cat and the whole
A
deal.
nice holographic robe and all that.
I
Yeah.
want a holographic cat. Hey, can we look at Whalesong again?
Yes, absolutely. Let's see
I'm
if I
not
have the
dissing. I'm not
technical
dissing that
ability.
cover, but it is the Whalesong launch.
Oops. Oh, hold
Yes.
on. It's doing this because I have the other one full screened, so I don't know how I stuck it.
Technology. It
I
makes their
know.
lives so much better.
So if I let's see how I do this.
Charles is
Uh,
going to get replaced by AI if he doesn't get this figured out soon.
God,
So
you
Oh,
know,
the AI is coming for
I
his
think
hold on.
podcasting
I think
job.
the aliens are going to tell us that that's a mistake.
Yeah.
Here
Well,
we
we
go.
could
I
just,
have a feeling that
Ah,
might. I will
oh,
say
I'm gonna
that
fix
has
it.
been a very timely element because even Artifact Space came out. I mean, obviously AI was in existence and coming up, but the way that it has risen to like the public zeitgeist and consciousness since that book has been like huge. So it's made your series way more timely with
it's
dealing with
funny
those.
because Charles, it's okay. I think we should just talk to each other.
I think
Oh,
we got
no,
it.
you win. You win. Um,
I
uh,
tried.
I'm I'm just going to say, like, you guys have read Ian Banks?
Ian
Yes.
Banks?
Ian
No.
Banks is geez,
Okay, it's the culture series. Like, to me, right there with Alistair Reynolds as the best writer in modern
gotcha.
science fiction. Unfortunately, he passed away a couple of years ago, but
Mm.
fabulous writer. Anyway, um, he he wrestled with AI because he has AI characters who are whole gigantic like ships, and they can basically make themselves effectively immortal, and they're citizens of this vast, far future empire. And it's kind of a problem because the meat puppets, as they, when angry, refer to the human beings, just aren't as smart. And they aren't giant warships. They can't really do stuff. Um, uh, and I admit to some extent, I've never had a good idea myself. I've just riff off of other people's good ideas. But I will level with you guys, and now I'm just being serious, which I mean, friends talking to other friends about fantasy can be occasionally serious.
Yes,
I
yes.
have the deepest reservations about AI, um, and I had them since like watching Star Trek at age 9. It's not
Mm.
like a
Yeah.
sudden revelation. I think
Mhm,
that Gene Roddenberry was on this in about 1969. Like,
mhm.
is it really a great
Yeah.
idea? Or maybe Mary Shelley writing Frankenstein? Is this
Sure.
is this really where we want to go? I'm
Mhm.
hardly the first person to adventure in this. And by the way, the well, nah, I don't want to give it away, but the
So
the
close,
AI
Dylan.
Morosini is clearly a quote unquote good guy. He's it, they are clearly on the side of a liberated, if I can use that word, humanity. Um, but we're going to explore what it means when a machine intelligence decides
Yeah.
it should protect humanity's future. And, that implies maybe a level of ruthlessness that human beings wouldn't practice. And
Yeah.
Hmm.
hey, like I say, I think there's a whole Star Trek episode about this. Um, I'm just trying to explore that. And also, I mean, maybe as my last point on this, the discovery that the essential military technology that has gotten you through a war turns out to be very, very, very dangerous to your civilization. Surely we all went through that after the Second World War with the atom bomb.
Right.
So, the discovery that the AIs are giving humans an edge in space combat, what's the long-term cost? Cool. Let's look at that.
We could, or we could just have it, write our emails for us and just ride that wave, a couple good years
It's
before it goes bad.
Well, yeah, well, like I'll say, I mean, on the serious note of reservations about AI, like teach psychology classes, and many of which online as part of what I do as I near completion of my PhD program, and I'll say, like, I can't prove this, but very many people are having AI write their papers. And it's the part that bothers me the most is like, I feel like when I was writing papers and stuff like that, I was developing skills. I was learning how to research things. I was learning how to like think through certain things myself and synthesize stuff. And it's like, uh, I'm like, I just feel bad that they're missing the opportunity to do that when they're in college. And I'm kind of worried about the ramifications that that's going to have on people.
I am not a psychologist. If anything, I'm a historian in addition to being a writer. And I can tell you that the AIs that I have tested are either subtly wrong or absolutely effing wrong every time I ask
Yeah,
even the most basic historical question. And to me, this is an existential threat because um, just looking at what's happening in the United States right now, and I'm going to get really serious, a lot of it has at its base a complete unwillingness to admit that some things are false
hmm,
and other things are true. And I could even make this about like science. So to then come up with a machine, let me put it this way. When I was in intelligence school in the United States Navy, and yes, there is a school to teach you to be an intelligence officer, they taught us that the worst intelligence officer was one who always had an answer, even if it was wrong. And that there was a temptation when you became a subject matter expert to always have an answer, but that
yeah,
instead you should say, I'm sorry, sir, I don't know. I'll try and find out. And the biggest flaw of AI is that it can't seem to say, gosh, I don't know the answer to that. I don't know
yeah,
who the Sforza princess in Milan in 1453 is. I don't know what St. George's Day was in 1379, which, by the way, I thought, here's something AI will be good at. It will be able to translate between the Gregorian and Julian calendar, and it will tell me what day a saint's day occurred on. I was writing a historical novel, and it did. It told me what day that saint's day occurred on in 2025, but it claimed it was telling me for 1379. And like, that's the kind of thing
I
where
see.
yeah.
just imagine a little racism and a little like systemic bias,
Oh, sure.
and we're
Because that's
never going
also what it is. It'll be like, it will just affirm whatever your belief is,
Right.
whatever your
I mean,
bias
look
is.
at
And it'll be like,
Grok
you'd be
on
like, you're absolutely
the
right, Christian. And here, great thought. And here's more to make you feel like your opinion was correct. So
yeah.
even
yeah,
if you're asking it something else, you could still be in that echo chamber of this is what I'm looking up, and it doesn't want
For
to tell me
sure.
no, you might be looking at it wrong. Consider
Right.
the other opinion.
So
When has AI ever said you could consider an alternate opinion? It's always like, no, great, let me pile on more. You know,
Yeah.
it's crazy.
uh, it is crazy, and it's going to feed anyway. It's going to feed the kind of crap that the American political climate runs on. Um,
Yeah.
uh, when you can go to an AI and it feeds you a Reddit answer as its answer, and you're like,
Hmm.
but anyone could have written that. However, I'm
The
Well,
whale song is. I
uh,
swear we started
Whalesong,
there.
I
Whalesong,
pulled this cover for a reason. We were going to bring up something.
Whalesong was not written by AI, corrected by AI, nor was the cover made by AI. That is my claim. Uh,
That's a
That's
good pitch
that's
for
a
it.
sticker to
And
put on the cover, you
yeah.
know. Quite the
Nothing
accomplishment.
in this video cast had anything to do with AI conversation. Sorry, my dog is freaking out because I have a cat. I don't know what her
Mm.
problem is, but it's inconvenient. Anyway, I apologize for the barking. Bridie,
It's all good.
Well, we can't even hear it, but even so, Christian, we've definitely been guilty of barking dogs and for me, just like screeching cats in the background. So it's
And the
no worries
foreground
at
too.
all.
It's
And the foreground has happened as well, yes.
oh, good. It's always better when the cat runs across in front of the screen.
yes,
People love
yes.
Yeah.
cats. People
Right in
love
front.
dogs.
Yeah,
Hey,
yeah,
Bridie,
of
Bridie, you're
course.
black, or I'd show you on screen because you're the same color as the screen. Yes, you are.
Is your
Camouflaged.
dog named Riley? Uh,
Bridie.
Oh, I thought because that's Charles's
Yeah,
dog's
my dog's
name.
name is
I was gonna
Riley. So
say you
I
have the
heard it
same
too. I
dog's
was like,
name.
okay,
Yeah.
close,
Have
close.
you have you ever seen a TV show called Riley Ace of Spies?
No, I have
Oh,
not.
No.
I strongly recommend BBC. Anyway,
Okay, right. I added two book series and a show to my list. It's wonderful. Awesome. Well, Christian, as we wrap up here, I know we pulled up this cover to bring up something. I think we got a little sidetracked by AI. Anything else that we want to mention for what the people have in store for them with the release of Whale Song before we wrap for the evening?
I just want to say I am a huge fan of John le Carré style, deep, complicated spy novels. And
Hmm.
I feel that the world is not full of sci-fi spy novels because, to be honest, it like a good mystery novel, it requires a ton of world building to set up a situation in which espionage makes any sense or
Hmm.
terrorism makes sense. So
That's
I'm hoping
interesting.
that people will get to the end of Whale Song much better informed on what's going on in the various secrets of the various empires, but also going like, wow, a spy novel with a spaceship. That was kind of cool. And also a shout
Hmm.
out to everyone who enjoyed Firefly. There's nothing like having
Hmm.
a small group of people on a ship going from port to port to give you an endless opportunity for adventure, maybe even a little romance. There, that's my
Oh,
sole job. It's John
well,
le Carré meets Firefly.
there we go.
Amazing.
That is a shout line right there for sure. So awesome. Well, we're looking forward to it. I believe the release day is October 16th.
Yep, just in
And
time for World Fantasy and British Fantasy in the UK.
oh, nice, nice.
And
Well, there we go.
Christian, is it available for folks in the US too to get on that date, or what's the deal
Not until
on
it is
that?
brought out by Saga, I think early next year.
Okay,
Got
so
it.
get it on your Kindle or
Yeah,
The
I
audio.
apologize to everyone. Oh, I also want to say, just in case there's actual fans listening, if anyone has problems with the maps, because the maps in the black and white are a little hard, I'm going to make sure, like by the end of this week, which is tomorrow, okay, let's say the end of next week,
There we
that
go.
color maps for all of these books are on my author website. Feel free to
Beautiful.
go. I've just
nice.
updated them all today. I've made sure the names, some of the names were inaccurate and a couple were misspelled. Yeah, you're Charles, you're holding something up.
Yeah, I'm holding up the maps, some
Oh
maps
yeah,
here
yeah.
Constellations.
and I'm holding up, showing off all this wonderful detail you have going into
Look
these
at that.
beautiful, beautiful books here. So we look forward to checking that out. And yeah, if anyone's interested in the color versions of the maps, please go check out the Christian Cameron, Miles Cameron fan page, and be sure to check that out. And then we've got the novella coming out in Grimdark Magazine. Do you know when that's expected to be
I
released as well?
believe that, I mean, I have to finish writing with Emma,
Yeah.
but
Hmm.
I believe that it will be out in the October issue, and I believe it will be 3 or 4 parts. Um,
Wow.
Now,
Uh,
I need to sort of hear back that that is for sure,
sure,
but
sure.
um, I
Tentative.
believe that's what we're doing, and I'm really looking forward to it. And I'm even willing to go so far as to say, even if that for some reason doesn't happen, I'll put it somewhere because it's kind of essential to understanding, just like Beyond the Fringe. Maybe not absolutely essential, but very helpful to understanding the meta plot.
Right, right. And there we go, guys. We have a lot to read in the meantime. You got Artifact Space, Deep Black. We've got the novella coming out. October is going to be the month of Miles Christian Cameron here. We got a lot of
Yeah,
exciting things to look forward to. And yeah, in the meantime, go free. Please check out, Christian Cameron's wide breadth of work. He's very active over on social media. Check that out as well. Lots of great fantasy stories too. For those of you that we've kind of been talking fantasy to this whole time, and every once in a while we dabble in science fiction just for Christians. So highly recommend,
I
and
have
we've
a
had a great
new
time.
I have a new fantasy series coming out
Oh,
next year.
Mm.
These 2 books are already written, and I promise you guys the cover reveal if you enjoyed doing this.
oh,
Oh
that's
yeah.
exciting. So this is
Yeah.
separate from the Age of Bronze, then, Christian is still.
Completely new. Uh,
Ah,
Okay.
I'll put it to you this way: it's not steampunk.
Not steampunk.
not
You heard it here
steampunk.
first.
There you go, guys. There you go.
It is
We'll slowly eliminate each
Yeah.
subgenre
no,
until we get to the.
it's because it is in a strange way kind of neo-Victorian, but it is not
Right.
any of the tropes found in steampunk.
Oh.
Okay. Okay.
And um, yeah, it's a very, very different thing for me, but I loved it. I wrote it with passion. I think it's the best thing I've ever written. And that's all I'm
Oh
willing to say
wow.
about it right now. I really do
Oof.
too. That
Wow.
I
Well,
think,
that's exciting.
That's
Yeah.
huge.
and I promise you guys the covers when we get there.
Wow. Well, we are very
Oh, and
excited for that.
I could say one
Yeah.
other thing about them, which is
Yep,
first
yep.
2 books are 2 books set in exactly the same 7 week period. So you get to see a bunch of
Interesting.
events from different points of view, but each of them
Oh,
is a completely different action story. So
wow.
um,
Huh.
I, I I have to keep myself entertained in book 55 and 56.
I was gonna say
Yeah.
7 weeks though. That's like 3 or 4 books for Miles Cameron, coming out at once. A lot can happen in 7 weeks, but that's really cool. I'm very excited to see what you got cooking up,
When did you say
Christian.
those were going to be on the way, likely, Christian?
I think we're aiming for a year from October. I don't have the schedule
Okay.
before.
Okay, so late 26 potentially is
Yeah,
on that. That's very
Yeah,
exciting. Very cool.
like I say,
that
I've
is very
already written them.
exciting.
They've already been edited. Which
That's that's really exciting. I mean, you guys are missing out. If you've only followed us for the science fiction Miles Cameron, there's a fantasy one as well. I don't know if you remember, Christian, but we did that Friends Creating Fantasy. We created a story, and one of the things that stuck with me from that was you were describing how like knights would normally use swords as tools like 90% of the time, and maybe occasionally they would fight with it if they were incredibly unlucky. But one of the things you were talking about was using it for cooking. And
yeah,
I just always have like that was like that just stays in my mind. And so in that story that we kind of wrote and spec'd out, I always imagine one of the scenes of someone just like rotisserieing a chicken on a sword blade. And that's just the kind of authenticity and creative thinking based in your deep knowledge of history and reenacting and all of that you bring to these stories. So we're really excited to see where that goes. And if
Well,
using a
Charles,
sword as a rotisserie spike does not pique your interest, then I can't help you.
and that's why, because I just read an entire very interesting botanical book about uh, basically medieval medicines, growing in them in your
Ooh.
garden and what worked and
Huh.
what didn't. That's why I want to write a cozy fantasy about a
Gonna
medieval
go to that witch
apothecary.
story.
Okay,
Yeah,
that's very
Yeah.
cool. Well, we'll be there when it releases, and Christian, thank you so much for your time and for the
Thank you
opportunity
so much.
to share this cover with the world. We'll make sure that as many people see it as possible. Whalesong, guys, you saw it here first on the Friends
literally saw
Talking
it here
Fantasy
Yes.
first.
podcast. Literally, even the author
Yeah,
saw it
Christian
first.
saw it here first too, so
You
that's as
cannot
big a
beat
cover
that.
reveal
You
as
got the live
possible.
reaction.
Yeah.
So, all right. Okay, Miles, Christian, Cameron, thank you so much for your time today. We greatly appreciate it. Guys, go check out the book in October. In the meantime, you've got two books to read, Artifact Space and Deep Black. Go check it out, as well as the anthology series and everything else coming out in between. So please go check those out. Support Miles, Christian, Cameron, wherever you can. Highly recommend. We'll see you next time, and we'll look out for that invite for that 100th book party.
Thanks, friends.
Thanks, everybody. Have a good one.
Thanks so
And
much.
oh, I forgot my outro. I'm a little rusty, Christian. I've been
Yeah.
on paternity leave for like 3 months now, so I haven't had to do an outro in a long time. So thank you, everybody, for watching and for listening. And then, as always, go forth and conquer, friends.